Hello, and welcome to the Vlogging Pod. Tonight, we are joined by Maggie Eliot. Welcome to the room, Maggie. How are you this evening?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It is my pleasure. I'm telling you, it's a break for me, really.
Oh yeah?
Yes, we had a tornado hit just above us last night.
Oh my gosh.
And I know. And we sleep in the basement. So we had 3 inches
Well,
of
we're
water
jealous.
dumped on us. Yeah.
Oh,
We had 3 inches, so we're siphoning out water out of the basement tonight. So
oh
my
God.
I know, I know. So we moved our bed up until the workout room. It's not pretty, but it's
Oh,
feasible.
yeah, yeah. Better than sleeping in a puddle, I guess.
Right. So you're like my break. I have a glass of wine to help with my backache.
Oh, sweetie, let's escape all that for a bit, huh?
That's right. You are my little mini vacation tonight.
Awesome. I'm so glad to be that.
Oh, awesome. And I hear you're on a writer's treat. How's that going?
It's great. So, two other writers and I are artists in residence in Port Austin, Michigan, which is the tip of the thumb. So we just walked back from the lake. We just went to see the lake, and now it's raining.
Nice. So you're up in Michigan?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you are not that close to me. You could walk on down to see me. I'm in Ohio.
Oh, there you go. We don't cross that
Put
border
you
much.
Yeah, there we go. Put you to work and help you suck some water out of my basement.
I'm not very useful, but I'll do my best.
No, no, I'm just kidding. I don't put that even on someone that, my
Oh,
worst enemy, I wouldn't put that on.
right.
Um, so, I love to do research on the people that are on my podcast. And one of the things I really wanted to talk with you about is because, um, I'll be honest with you. If you've listened to my podcast, you kind of already know. I had my own emotional wave of different things, and I lost my father last year. So when
I'm
I
so
was
sorry.
doing
Me
some
too, oddly.
yes, that's exactly what I
I'm so
saw, and I
sorry.
was like, well, I'm very sorry for yours as well.
Thanks.
Um, and so my mother's living with me now. I mean, she lives in her own
Okay.
apartment across from the pool, across from my she shed, in fact.
Oh, I love
So
it.
when I heard about your dedication to your newest work, I thought
hmm
that I would love to shine some light on that. Would you mind?
Sure. Um,
Awesome.
so both of my folks died within 18 months of one another, and it was in the last couple of years. Um, and uh, we were a very reader home, so they really kind of gave that love of books and a lot of correction of English to us on a regular basis. So I
Mhm.
dedicated the book to them, partly, full disclosure, like a little bit of inheritance makes self-publishing a little bit easier,
Yeah.
but also because I wouldn't have my love for words without them. So, and anything that can make you still feel tied to someone that you lose like that is everything.
Yeah, I fully understand that. It's
Yeah,
hard. It really is. It's hard
it is.
to It is, and I don't wish that on anybody, the loss of
Mm-mm,
anyone, anyone in your life. I
mm-mm.
don't wish that. But
No,
I
and we've been
think
so blessed and have such a big family. It was like it shouldn't be a
yeah.
shocker. That's where we're all headed. But it was still like, what? You know?
I don't I don't think there's anything that makes you ready for it, to be honest with you.
No,
I really don't.
no.
Um, I mean, I'm still dealing with it, today, and my father
Yeah,
has been gone a year, and I'm still shocked that it's a year. I'm like, I
I get
cannot
that.
believe that
Yep,
it's been a year.
yep,
And but I think for me, because I haven't had a chance to even mourn it, I have to keep continually busy. And
yep.
so when you were writing the book, and I know that when it happened, when you had the loss of your parents, I know
Mhm.
that you were working on the book at the time. Did you find that it
Yeah.
affected you in any way, shape, or form when you were writing?
Well, the original draft of it was well before that, like
Mhm.
pre-COVID era, but I have been editing it for like a lifetime because I'm a pantser. But
Yeah.
there's one theme within it that is really sort of part of who I am, and is relative to all this work, which is the main character is a comedian, and her coping mechanism has always been humor. But I sort of realized later in life that like that means you don't feel your feels, right? Like
Yeah.
you you think you're, dealing with it, but really you're just like doing a shiny object kind of thing. And so there
Yeah.
was a lot of feels like that came out of that experience that I just wasn't prepared for, I think,
Yeah. I admit
Good
I
stuff.
agree with that. I really do. I don't think I don't know about putting it in humor, but I have done it by always keeping busy. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like
Whatever
I
your coping mechanism is,
yes, and I'll be honest with you, my keeping busy wasn't writing because writing takes too much thought. So you know what I mean? So when I
Yes.
would
Too much reflective time. Yeah.
yes, so when I would sit
Yep.
there to write, I'd be my mind would go, for the wonder, and then it would go right off to what I didn't want to think about. So
Yeah.
I can relate to that. I mean, I know you said you wanted to use more humor,
Yeah.
and and then I know you were talking about you did a blog on it, and you were talking
Hmm.
about your therapist. And I'll be honest with you, I've wanted to go back to therapy myself
I need a new one. I
because
really do. Yeah.
oh, I do too. I really do. I haven't been for a long time. I did 3 years back in my 20s, and that's a whole other podcast in itself, but, I went to therapy before, so I know the gist, and I'll be honest with
Yeah.
you, I really need to go back. I have a very
Same.
hard time dealing with a lot of things as it is now, you know,
Yeah.
and it's not easy, and I think the time that you have to
No.
think, like, where it comes to writing, you're like, "Crap."
I know. I know. I know. Well, I used to get so
No.
mad at that therapist because, first of all, this was A material I'm throwing out and you're not laughing. And I get it. You think I shouldn't
Yeah.
be making these jokes, but it's funny, so make me comfortable. But then the other thing is like, he didn't really say much. The only thing I really got out of it was like, feel your feels, which was eye
Mm.
opening. But I was like, so am I just going to be talking myself through this whole, like, are you going to say anything at all? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I I
I just got
I
annoyed.
get that. When I first went into therapy, I went through 3 therapists before I found one that worked for me. So
Mm.
I don't
It's like dating, right? Like you got to kiss a
yeah.
lot of frogs, I think.
Yeah, but, humor can be a very good way to get rid of I don't see where that wouldn't be healthy. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because maybe you would get to the point where you would have, like, a breakdown and be able to move through it, you know?
yeah.
But
Well,
I so
and
I
when you're
can
bouncing around in life, like, and that's my sort of way in, right? And it's
mhm.
tough, like when you see somebody and you make the first sort of joking comment you can think of, or whatever, and you see nothing flash. I'm like, "Oh, this isn't going to go well. Like my superpower is nullified. Like you're
I
kryptonite. I can't,
I get that. I get that. You
Yeah,
ever when you talk about humor, to switch to tweak the subject just a touch.
yeah, yeah.
um,
I'm with you.
when you meet somebody and you have that
Hmm.
chemistry and you're like
Hmm.
everything you say is funny or everything's a laugh and you
Uh,
get along with it. And that's perfect. I love those type of and
yes.
I've had lots on the podcast. I really have. I've had a lot of
Yeah.
people that I'm like, wow, I would love to have this person back.
Yeah.
And you just click. So
Yes.
I get what you're saying. To
Although
have
it's a delicate
your
balance.
it
Sometimes people
is.
laugh too much, and then you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I didn't even work for that one. Don't laugh at that.
Right. Well, yeah, because it could be that nervous laugh, especially depending on what you're
Hmm.
joking about. You think, oh yeah, are they just laughing because they don't know what to say?
Yeah.
I've had
Yeah.
that
Wait till I
happen
say something
too.
actually funny. You're gonna die.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Right. I get you. So So, just to talk a little bit about the book, which is Humor Me
Yeah.
for all those listening. So a senator find a seat among an improv show. Tell me a little bit more about
Hmm.
that.
So my life before writing fiction, I was an actor, and then I was an improviser for many, many years.
Hmm.
And this theater that is represented within this book is based on a real theater that's in Hamtramck, Michigan called Planet Amphitheater. And we used to do 50-seat black box shows there, and that is the start of the book, is sort of set in that from the actress, or from Pal, her name is Pal's perspective, um, as the hot guy in the audience. Eventually, it turns out to be a
when
senator.
We
you know.
all like one of those in the audience, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 I mean, I'm definitely, especially like in my younger days when I was single, like there have been definitely times where you're like playing off the end, you're like, oh, hello, like, hi, I
You know
really want to
what?
get the suggestion from you. Yeah.
I only like them on TikTok now. I'm too old to do anything with them. I just like to look.
Oh yeah. Oh, thank God for TikTok. It makes me much less of a
Oh,
creep.
right?
I can ogle in my safety of my own home.
Oh, I totally agree with you. I can, and it's like it's nice because it just continues to replay, and you don't have to push that.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so a cute senator's in the audience,
Yeah.
and
She doesn't know, but he's been watching, videos of her troop before he even got there, and he's brothers with one of the guys in the troop. So, and it's kind of people say some people like a quicker, get together and romance, some like slower. This one is not a slow burn. They're sort of hitting it off right off the bat,
mm-hmm,
because he's already half in love with her. So it kind of falls under that he falls first trope that a lot of people love.
mm-hmm,
But then
nice.
it's all opposites attract thing. Like, how do you have somebody who does, shows for beer money, go out with a U.S. freaking senator?
Mm.
It's a
I
it's a
I
real
relate.
dynamic. Yeah.
I relate to that. I really do. I like books like that because I think that's my husband and me. I mean, not that he's a
Okay.
senator.
Like, do
Not that he's
tell.
yeah. He's not a senator. Nobody get like up on that. But yeah, we are like opposites. Really, we
Okay.
are. And he drives me crazy. And
Oh yeah.
like just a second ago, I was yelling and screaming at him, and I was like, "You could be hell down here helping me." And then I'm calling him, "You're such a hole," And I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
then he
Absolutely.
comes down, and he'll joke and he'll go, "But he'll say something like, but he'll say it laughingly. He goes, "Yeah, you're just as much of an a hole," and we start laughing. Then we'll high five and go about our business.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Yeah, I get that. And I think there is a lot of chemistry in that way because it takes a lot of that frustration and heat for somebody to really
Yeah.
drive you. I think if we were so much alike, there wouldn't be that much chemistry. It would
Yep.
be peaceful, right? It would be peaceful. And who
Yep.
the heck wants that?
Oh, nobody wants that. Well,
No,
that's
nobody
in the
wants that.
book, he's like the guy is like goal setter, winner, achiever guy, right? So he's going to
Yeah.
tend toward the more serious side. So what draws him to Pal is she's funny and nothing is that serious. Like everything is light and fun and great in her world. So it's very
Mhm.
attractive to him, in this very high stress place.
Yeah.
I was always thinking about Cory Booker when I wrote it because he was like one of the only senators I knew that was like kind of single and dating, and he was going out with like Rosario Dawson or something at the time when I first wrote this. So it was like senators do date, I guess. They're not
Huh.
all white-haired old men.
I just had to look up Cory Booker.
Uh huh. Here you go. Learn something
Yeah.
new.
Yeah, I can see that. All right. Now, excuse me. I get that because my husband is very easygoing
Yeah,
and very, very humorous. Everybody laughs at his jokes.
that's great.
And but when it's like one of those times when I want things done, where I'm trying to do stuff, or we have people
Ooh,
over, I'm like, I don't want your effing humor. I want you
yeah,
doing
yeah,
something. I
yeah.
want your help, buddy.
One thing that along those lines that has mixed reviews, and I'll keep it PG, but there is a romantic scene where the senator wants to be romantic and the comedian keeps doing jokes in the bedroom.
Oh,
And he's like, come on already, come on. But, in the end, she does get a really good laugh out of him. So it was really worth it the first time. Like, that's how, funny people are shots on goal. Like, I got to keep trying until I get the laugh that was enough.
yeah. I agree with that. I mean, I don't mind the humor. I think it's
Mhm.
because my husband is just too close to me.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
we're, I've been married for 23 years, I think. So I understand.
Congratulations. I've been
Hey,
married
thanks. We're both alive.
32
Oh,
years.
oh,
Yeah,
you win.
32.
And
I'm
we all made it
old.
through the pandemic, which is a blessing.
I'm
because
old. That's one of the reason I win. I'm
hey,
old.
same. I have
So
more insurance line, right?
there you
Right?
go. So now, Maggie, you vaguely mentioned before you have 25 years of performing
Yeah,
in the arts. So talk to me
yeah.
a little bit about that. How did that get started for you?
So I got a theater degree from Wayne State University in Detroit, and then very shortly after graduation, there was a Second City Theater in Detroit, which people would know it from Chicago as like the launching pad for every great comedian you love came out of there.
Hmm.
All the early SNL people and so forth. So they had one in Detroit. I got hired there and was there for a few years and then started a bunch of stuff in Hamtramck. So, have been sort of a mom of improv in Detroit for a long
Oh,
time and taught
nice.
sketch and improv and directed and then became a playwright. And then I was on a trip and I accidentally bought a romance book in the airport and loved it. And then I was like,
Mm.
well, guess it's time to write romance books. And I started doing that.
Yeah,
I can do this.
I have that right. And you did playwriting.
Yes.
And then how did that exactly affect your writing a book? You went from playwriting to writing a book. Tell me how that worked out for. Did you find it a struggle or was it an easy conversion?
It's not an easy conversion because I all I want to do is write dialogue, and I like the
Mm,
whole and in writing a play, it's kind of a thing, or at least it was for me. The less stage direction, the better, right? Because it means like the play stands on its own feet. Well, that stage direction is the world building in a book. So I had spent so many years trying not to write that stuff. So then I had to learn
mm,
how to write that stuff. But it was a, a fun thing to have to learn, I guess.
right. Well, you know what? I find the dialogue harder for me. So I think that's
Okay,
awesome. I think that's awesome for you. I struggle with
great.
dialogue with characters. I am more as far as my own writing, more
Yeah.
action oriented. I think this
Okay.
writing about what happening, what they're doing is more easier for me.
Okay.
So, did you find because dialogue comes so much easier for you, how far did you have to curb that back?
It was more the on subsequent drafts. A lot of the attention needs to be around like fixing up the world building. You know,
Mm, yeah.
because I'm a pantser, so I like vomit out a draft quickly and then spend years like fixing it. It's like editing a documentary film. Like
Mm.
so.
I
Yeah.
can relate. I when I first started writing, it came very easy.
Okay.
Um, but to the point where I would get another idea and I would jump to that. And
Oh
my
my
husband got
God.
on me. I right?
Yes.
Like
Plot
I'm kind of like
bunnies.
the yeah, I'm kind of like a dog where it says squirrel.
Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah.
Shiny object. Yep.
Yep. And I would drift around and I wrote a few books in one series and a few books in another series to the form where basically all my series have not come to a conclusion. And my husband
Hmm.
was like, "You need to put time into one book." So I started that, but as we talked in the very beginning of our podcast, my father got sick and it was off and on
Yep,
for several years.
yep,
And
yep.
I became a very active
That's all
part in that.
consuming. Yeah.
Yes, it is. And people don't
Yeah.
realize it until you're in it.
Well,
Um,
I have so many siblings. I have five sisters, and four of them live nearby me. And five of us were taking care of my dad's appointments. And
mm,
still, there were times where I was like, I can't do it all. So
yeah.
anyone with any less than that amount of people involved, I can't even imagine. Like, it's
Yeah.
just
Well,
I
there's
also had
I'm
this
the
weird thing that I was like, the other day I was talking to my sister and I was like, I kind of want to go to the podiatrist and say hi just because I haven't seen her since he passed. And she was so nice. Like, is this a weird thing?
that's that's
And she was
funny.
part of my life for a while. Like,
Yeah.
we would go like
I
once a week.
I get that.
Yeah.
I'm the youngest of 3 sisters,
Okay.
and because I work from home, I mean, I've had jobs outside of the home, but for the last years, I've worked from home.
Okay.
And so I was the one that had the more time to arrange my
Yep.
schedule around my dad.
Yep.
So usually it was myself and my husband.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, don't get me wrong. One of my sisters would partake more than the other. And,
Yeah.
but basically it came down to my husband and myself. And
Yeah.
I found it all consuming. And
It
it
is.
really does stop you from going ahead. I mean, I even turned down some things that could have helped what I'm doing as far as my own
Yeah.
career. And I had
Yeah.
to turn it down because although it
Family
wasn't
first.
money, yeah, because it wasn't exactly money, but it was gonna consume more
Hmm.
of my time, but
Yep.
networking, there was gonna be a lot more networking that would have helped what I was eventually trying to do, and I had to
Hmm.
turn it all down. And I gave up a lot of things that I was doing at the time,
Yeah.
and I think, it makes it hard to continue to do what you're doing based on something else, so
Absolutely.
I totally can relate.
Yeah. Same.
Um, so when we talk about your career and what you're doing, you went
Hmm.
from playwriting, and I
Hmm.
believe in 2013 you got a Best Script award?
Yeah. So that it's funny. They're called the Wilde Awards for Oscar Wilde.
Mm.
And yeah, so I won that in 2013. It was a play. So if you read Humor Me, it's set in this town called Hamtramck, which is a city that's completely within the borders of Detroit. And it was this immigrant community, started off as Eastern European and now is more like Yemeni and Bangladeshi. And so the
Mhm.
play was called Ham Town Races because people call Hamtramck Hamtown, and it was kind of about a clash of races within that town of between Polish and black and Muslim and hipsters and all
Mhm.
together in this like cafe. So I won an award for that.
Okay.
But of course, there
So,
was a love story, and
well,
I should have
yeah,
known.
that's what makes the
Should have
stories
known.
really worthwhile, right? If there's not a
Of
love
course,
story. If there's not
yeah.
some heat there going in between those scripts of that sheet.
Honestly, right?
You like how I
Exactly.
threw that in there with sheets and
I do.
scripts there?
Yeah, I like it.
So tell me a little bit about Lark Lake Lodge.
Yeah. Um, this is kind of one of my favorites, and it's supposed to come back from the editor tomorrow. Um,
Nice.
so yeah, I'm very excited. This is my pandemic book. So there's a divorced woman who the only thing she gets out of her marriage is this old lodge near Saugatuck, Michigan, and she's gonna rehab it. It's a very tropey thing. Like it's so you've seen this movie on Netflix before, and this like the hot guy next door who breeds basset hounds, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
So, but it's
We all
just
know we all get a feeling for the sense where the book
yeah,
is going, but we're still
yeah.
drawn to it. We're like, we want to know
Oh,
more.
it's so strange. Like I literally, because you think about like, well, what makes my book different than every other? I'm like nothing, but
Yeah,
hopefully the voice. Like from what I've understood, like the voice, because that won a couple of awards, and I'm like, it's not, I didn't split the atom here. Like
right.
it's start over in the renovation project, trope. So I love it. It's my book baby, and I think people will really like it.
So tell me a little bit about your Put Your Heart in a Book contest from New
Yeah,
Jersey.
yeah. So that was the New Jersey romance writers. I had no expectations of winning that. It was a finalist, and then they had their ceremony on Zoom because it was 2021, and
Hmm.
and I won. And then you're like, doing the whole Oscars crying moment like on a Zoom window. It was pretty fun. But yeah, it was super exciting. It was like a pre-published category, so you send in, unpublished
Nice.
works for those kinds of things. Yeah.
So now your debut novel is Humor Me,
Hmm.
correct? Okay,
Yep.
so what's next? What are we expecting? I mean, I know you just said that you have something coming back that you wrote during the COVID time when we were
Yeah.
all um, s- isolated in. So
Yes.
what's coming up? Are you working on something on now?
Yes. I'm always working on like four things.
Well, good.
Very soon. So right now there's an anthology for our organization is called Greater Detroit Romance Writers. We have an anthology
Hmm.
out this year that's oh my God, menopause. Heart and Soul, SOLE, because there's a shoe theme, right? So I have a novella in that I'll get the rights back, and I'll probably put that out as a freebie to my readers, and then like $1 on Amazon or whatever.
Right.
And then in the fall, I'm hoping to have Lark Lake Lodge out, unless a query comes back like I won the lottery, and then you
Don't we
never
all
know.
want that one? We all want that lottery.
Fingers crossed.
Right.
And then top of 2025, book two. So Humor Me is book one of the Detroiters in Love series. So book two will be coming out early 2025. And that one is about a woman who wins the lottery, and it's called Whole Lotto Love, which I'm very proud of
Hmm.
that title.
I like that. I
So
I like
that's the
that.
immediate. There's other books. I have tons of work. I just haven't been um, publishing until the last year or
Right.
so.
Excuse me.
All right.
Pardon me. I had to
Yeah.
pause my mic for that.
Whatever.
Allergy,
I know.
you
I
know
heard that.
what? Allergy
Mm-hmm.
times are horrible.
Oh,
It sounds
absolutely.
like you've got a lot coming, and I'm very excited for you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's an
Well, you're
exciting time.
welcome. So we're at that time in the interview where I like to talk about our Amazon deal of the day. Now, as I just coughed up a hook, you and you can probably still hear it in my chest. I love to talk about something that I have taken on for my allergies. As a 50, how old am I now? Yeah, 51-year-old.
Mhm,
I never had allergies before, but now I do.
mhm,
And my doctors and everything say it's stress related. I can't imagine why that is.
mhm,
Anyways, so I have discovered it's called a BLUEAIR air purifiers for large rooms. They also have one for smaller ones. I have one in my she shed, but it doesn't connect to your internet, to your phone. I love the bigger ones because it gives me a thing on my phone letting me know when the air is more pollutant in my house, which is freaking awesome because all you can do is adjust the fan. Now, I'm going to be honest
mhm.
with you guys. They are not the cheapest thing, but it is absolutely freaking awesome. I've never in my life slept better than I have with this flippin' air purifier. I am not kidding you. Um, they're 20% off now, so you're going to get it cheaper than I got it. I hate all of you. They are $239.99 now, and their original price was $299.99. But if you can't afford that, and I understand that, there's a thing that you can get through Amazon, so you could pay for like $48 a month for 5 months. I'll have the link in the bio because if allergies are your problem, girlfriend, I'm telling you, you want this thing. It is freaking awesome. And the filter is around the entire model of it, which is absolutely awesome. Anyways, I will say no more on that. I want to thank you so much, Maggie, for being on our program this evening.
What a treat. Thank you for having me.
Anytime, you're more than welcome to come back. You could even do some
Awesome.
jokes next time. You could start a whole freaking lineup.
Yes.
We can start rolling it out.
This is the say something funny portion of the interview, isn't
Yeah, there you
it?
go.
Mhm.
Spotlights on you. We're blaring
Right.
down. We're expecting something awesome.
No pressure.
No pressure. Thank you so much for being on. I'd love to have you back. I think you're awesome. I think there's so much
Awesome.
more that we could
Likewise.
talk about. Oh,
For
well, thank you
sure.
so much.
Thank
Thank you to
you.
our listeners. Thank you to our listeners once again. Until next time, guys. Bye bye for now.